for a variety of reasons. I think that applies in almost any sport you can think of. She's very good. She's very natural, and always found it easy to get on with different sorts of horses. So it's certainly come through very strongly with her. I know it's been a pleasure to watch. I have to say, it was almost more fun when she won a European Championship. I thought that was extraordinary achievement for having a mother and daughter do that.
Princess Anne just dropped a bombshell that's sending shockwaves through the palace, and the royal family is scrambling to contain the damage. The truth about Prince Archie's real name has finally been exposed, and it's far more calculated and revenge-driven than anyone imagined. Meghan's original choice would have torn the family apart and humiliated King Charles in the worst way possible.
But I think I eventually learnt that in horse trials and event riding, you should be sort of 85 to 90% in control of what goes on in order to be competitive. But racing, I reckoned you had to be nearly 99% out of control to be truly competitive. It kind of goes against the grain a little bit, so it was a bit more of a challenge to just let the horse get on with it. And they are the athletes who know what they're doing.
What happened next involved secret anagrams, hidden messages, and a cunning plan that fooled everyone for years. Recent conversations within certain social circles have brought to light some interesting claims about the naming process behind Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's first child, Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. These claims, originating from sources close to aristocratic families with long-standing connections to the British royal family, suggest that the story behind Archie's name is more complex than what has been publicly shared. The timing of these revelations is particularly noteworthy. According to those sharing this information, the details emerged around the period of Archie's birth in May 2019, during a time when the Duke and Duchess of Sussex maintained closer relationships with their social circle in the United Kingdom. This was before their decision to step back from royal duties, commonly referred to as Megxit, which took place in early 2020. During this earlier period, there was naturally more communication and exchange of information between the Sussexes and their friends and acquaintances within British society. The sources providing this information have described their connections as coming from families of considerable standing within the British aristocracy. While the specific identities remain confidential, those sharing these details emphasize the reliability of the information chain, suggesting that what's being discussed originated directly from conversations involving the Sussex household itself during that time period. It's worth noting that in the months surrounding Archie's birth, before the relationship between the Sussexes and the broader royal family became more strained, there was considerably more social interaction and private discussion among those circles. What makes these claims particularly interesting is that they align with a pattern of naming choices that the couple has made over the years. Anyone who has followed the Sussex story knows that Meghan Markle has shown a particular interest in the meaning and significance of names. This has been evident not just in the names chosen for her children, but in her professional branding decisions and public communications. The Duchess has often spoken about the importance of language, symbolism, and the stories that words can tell. Before diving into the specifics of what's being claimed about Archie's name, it's helpful to recall another naming-related story that emerged a few years ago. Reports surfaced suggesting that Meghan had expressed concerns about her son potentially being known as the Earl of Dumbarton, one of the subsidiary titles that Prince Harry holds. According to these reports, which were later confirmed by reputable news outlets including The Telegraph, Meghan was worried about the unfortunate nickname potential inherent in the title. The word Dumbarton contains the word dumb, which could lead to the obvious and unfortunate nickname Dumbo for a young child. This story about the Earl of Dumbarton concerns several things. First, it shows that Meghan does indeed think carefully about names and their implications, particularly how they might be shortened or twisted into less flattering versions. Second, it demonstrates that information from private royal discussions does eventually make its way into public knowledge, even if it takes time. And third, it suggests that the couple has been selective and strategic about titles and names for their children, sometimes pushing back against tradition when they felt it didn't serve their interests. The verification of the Dumbarton story by mainstream media outlets lends some credence to the idea that private conversations about naming decisions do occur within royal circles, and that these conversations sometimes become known to a wider audience. It establishes a precedent that what might initially sound like mere gossip or speculation can turn out to have a basis in fact. The royal family, despite all its privacy and protocols, is still made up of people who talk to friends and family members, and those conversations sometimes make their way beyond the immediate circle. Understanding the context of how royal naming works is also important here. Unlike many modern families who might choose names simply based on personal preference or family tradition, royal names carry significant weight and meaning. They signal allegiances, honor relatives, acknowledge heritage, and sometimes make political or social statements. Every royal name is scrutinized not just by the media and public, but by the family itself. There are expectations, traditions, and unwritten rules about what is and isn't appropriate. When Archie was born in May 2019, many royal watchers were surprised by the choice of name. It wasn't a traditional royal name in the way that George, Charlotte, or Louis are. It didn't follow the expected pattern. While Archie is a friendly, approachable name that felt modern and down to earth, it lacked the obvious royal connections that people had anticipated. There was no King Archie in British history, no famous Prince Archie to honour. The name felt like a departure, which in itself was interesting given the couple's position within the royal family at that time. Meghan has been open about her interest in language and meaning. In her podcast series Archetypes, she explored different labels and stereotypes applied to women, demonstrating her fascination with how words shape perception and reality. This interest in the power of language and wordplay is well documented. She's someone who thinks about etymology, symbolism, and the layers of meaning that can exist within names and titles. This characteristic becomes relevant when considering the claims about how Archie's name was supposedly chosen. The middle name Harrison was explained quite straightforwardly as meaning Harry's son, a creative if somewhat obvious choice that allowed the couple to honour Prince Harry while giving their son a meaningful name. This showed the kind of thoughtful wordplay that characterised the couple's approach to naming. It wasn't a traditional patronymic in the royal style, but it served a similar purpose while feeling more contemporary and personal. What the sources are now claiming is that the process of arriving at the name Archie was far more complicated than simply liking the name or being inspired by the Archie comics character, which was one early theory about the name's origin. Instead, these sources suggest that there was an earlier preferred choice, one that would have been more traditionally royal, and that what we know as Archie's name today is actually the result of a more complex series of events and decisions that took place within the family during those early months of 2019. The claims being made are specific enough to be either verified or disproven over time, which is part of what makes them noteworthy. They involve named individuals, specific conversations, and a clear timeline. They also provide an explanation for something that many people found puzzling at the time, which was why the couple chose such an unconventional name for their firstborn when they were still working members of the royal family, with presumably closer ties to tradition and protocol. According to the sources sharing this information, the name that was initially preferred by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex for their first child was actually Charles. This revelation, if accurate, would represent a significant departure from what eventually became public knowledge. The suggestion is that before Archie Harrison was announced to the world, there were discussions within the family about naming the baby Charles, or potentially the more informal Charlie, as a tribute to Prince Harry's father, who was then the Prince of Wales. On the surface, this choice would have made considerable sense. Naming a child after a grandparent is a common practice in many families, royal or otherwise. It's a gesture of respect, affection, and continuity. Prince Charles is, after all, Prince Harry's father, and despite whatever tensions existed or would later develop between them, honouring that relationship through a name would have been understandable. The name Charles has deep roots in British royal history, having been borne by two previous kings, though their reigns were notably tumultuous periods in British history. What makes this claim particularly interesting is the dynamic it would have created within the family. At the time of Archie's birth in May 2019, the relationships between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family were already showing signs of strain, though the full extent of the difficulties wouldn't become apparent to the public until later. Having a Prince Charles of Sussex would have created an unusual situation. There was already Prince Charles, of course, the heir to the throne. Having another Prince Charles in the immediate family, particularly one from a younger generation, would have been unconventional. The sources claim that the suggestion evolved from simply Charles to the more casual Charlie as discussions progressed. Charlie has a more modern, approachable feel to it while still maintaining the connection to the formal name. It's the kind of contemporary twist on a traditional name that would fit with the Sussex brand of modern royalty that Meghan and Harry were attempting to cultivate at that time. Prince Charlie of Sussex would have sounded less formal, more accessible, perhaps more aligned with how the couple wanted to present themselves and their family to the world. For Prince Harry, according to these accounts, there was initially some hesitation about the name. The relationship between Harry and his father has been well documented as complicated. Even before the publication of Harry's memoir, there were indications that the father-son relationship had its challenges. Harry has spoken publicly about feeling misunderstood by his father, about communication difficulties, and about fundamental disagreements on various matters. So the idea that Harry might have needed convincing to name his son after Prince Charles does track with what we know about their relationship. However, the sources suggest that Harry was reassured by the more informal Charlie option. This would allow the child to be formally named after his grandfather, while being known by a friendlier, less weighty version in everyday life. It's worth noting that Charles is actually one of Prince Harry's middle names. His full name is Henry Charles Albert David, so using Charles would also have been honouring Harry himself in a way. This layering of meaning and tribute is typical of royal naming conventions, where multiple family connections are often acknowledged through a single name choice. What's particularly significant in these accounts is not just that Charles or Charlie was suggested, but what happened when this suggestion was presented to the wider family. According to the sources, the proposal was taken to the highest level of the royal family for consideration. This makes sense given that any senior royal birth is a family matter as much as it is a public event. The name of a child born to a senior working royal, even one sixth in line to the throne as Archie was at birth, would naturally be discussed among the key family members. The sources indicate that the response to this suggestion came not from Prince Charles himself, as might be expected, nor from palace advisors or courtiers. Instead, it was Queen Elizabeth who gently steered the conversation in a different direction. This detail is noteworthy because it illustrates the Queen's continued involvement in family matters even in her 90s, and it shows the delicate nature of how such conversations were handled within the family. According to these accounts, the Queen's response was neither harsh nor dismissive. She didn't forbid the name or express disapproval directly. Instead, she employed a more subtle approach. When the name Charles or Charlie was mentioned to her, she reportedly responded by suggesting that she had thought Prince Harry might choose to honour Prince Philip instead. This suggestion carried weight for several reasons. Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh and Queen Elizabeth's husband, shared certain personality traits with Prince Harry. Both were known for their sometimes irreverent humour, their military service, their occasional difficulty with the constraints of royal protocol, and their independent streaks. The Queen, who knew both men intimately, had apparently noticed these similarities. By suggesting Philip as a name, she was acknowledging this connection and suggesting what might have been seen as an equally meaningful, perhaps even more personal, tribute. The name Philip also had the advantage of being Prince Charles's own middle name. His full name is Charles Philip Arthur George, so using Philip would still maintain a connection to Prince Harry's father, while perhaps avoiding some of the complications that having two Prince Charles figures in the same family generation might create. It was a diplomatic suggestion that offered an alternative without directly refusing the original proposal. Prince Philip himself was known within the family by various nicknames and informal titles. Family members sometimes referred to him simply as the Duke, a reference to his title as Duke of Edinburgh. This was a mark of respect and affection, a way of acknowledging his position while maintaining the informality that characterized many family interactions behind closed doors. According to the sources, when Philip was suggested as a potential name, there was even some discussion about whether the child might be called Duke as an informal name, mirroring how Prince Philip was sometimes addressed. However, the sources claim that Meghan was not enthusiastic about the name Philip. The reasons for this are open to interpretation. Philip is certainly a traditional royal name with strong connections to the family, but it lacks the modern feel that names like Charlie might have. It's also worth noting that by this point, according to these accounts, what Meghan really wanted was for her son to carry the name of the next monarch. This was about legacy, about connection to power and future kingship, about ensuring her child's name carried weight and significance within the royal hierarchy. The desire to name the child after the future king, whether that was Charles in his formal capacity or Charlie as a more contemporary version, speaks to broader ambitions and concerns about status and position within the family. It wasn't just about honouring Harry's father as a person, but about linking their child's identity to the future sovereign, to the next generation of royal leadership. This would have created a permanent connection in people's minds between Archie and the line of succession, between the Sussex branch and the throne itself. The Queen's gentle discouragement of the name Charles, delivered through the suggestion of Philip instead, was reportedly done with awareness of the tensions that already existed within the family. Even before the public knew about any difficulties, the Queen was apparently aware of friction between the Sussexes and other family members, particularly Prince Charles and the Cambridges. She could see potential problems on the horizon and was attempting in her way to smooth things over and prevent future complications. The beauty of the Queen's approach, according to these sources, was that it didn't require her to say no directly or to explain her reasoning explicitly. By offering an alternative suggestion that was itself meaningful and appropriate, she redirected the conversation without creating conflict or leaving anyone feeling rejected. This kind of subtle diplomacy was characteristic of how Queen Elizabeth handled family matters throughout her long reign. After the suggestion of Charles or Charlie was gently discouraged by Queen Elizabeth, and with the alternative of Philip also not finding favour with the couple, the sources claim that Meghan took matters into her own hands in a characteristically creative way. What happened next, according to these accounts, demonstrates the Duchess's well-documented interest in language, wordplay, and the hidden meanings that can be embedded within names. The suggestion is that Meghan, not willing to completely abandon the idea of connecting her son's name to the future king, began exploring alternative ways to incorporate Charles into the child's name without using it directly. Given her known fascination with language and etymology, this kind of linguistic puzzle would have appealed to her sensibilities. The solution she allegedly arrived at involved anagrams, the rearranging of letters within a word to create new words with different meanings. According to the sources, Meghan began by examining the letters in the name Charles. The name contains 7 letters, and naturally would have been her starting point, since that was the name she originally wanted to use. When working with anagrams of Charles, one of the words that can be formed is arches, though this requires dropping the letter L. While arches isn't a complete anagram since it's only 6 of the 7 letters, it apparently caught her attention as a starting point. The word arch itself has multiple meanings and connotations, from architecture to descriptions of behaviour, as in arch-rival or arch-nemesis. This interest in the arch root would later become evident in various ways. The couple's foundation and production company became known as Archewell, with the couple explaining that the word Archie means source of action in Greek. When Meghan launched her podcast, it was titled Archetypes, focusing on the labels and stereotypes applied to women. The prefix arch appears throughout the Sussex brand in ways that seem deliberate and consistent. If these sources are correct, this pattern may have originated with the naming decision for their first child. However, the real breakthrough in this alleged linguistic puzzle came when Meghan turned her attention from Charles to Charlie, according to these accounts. Charlie contains 6 letters and offers different possibilities for rearrangement. When the letters of Charlie are shuffled, one of the most obvious words that can be formed is our Archie. The letters A, R, C, H, I, and E are all present in Charlie, leaving only the letter L unused. This anagram would have been relatively easy to discover, either through manual exploration or through online anagram generators that are readily available. The elegance of this solution from a certain perspective is that it allowed the couple to have the name they wanted hidden in plain sight. Archie doesn't obviously connect to Charles or Charlie unless you know to look for the anagram connection. It sounds modern, friendly, and distinctly unroyal, which fits with the image the Sussexes were cultivating. Yet if these sources are accurate, it carried the secret meaning that Meghan wanted, the connection to the next monarch embedded within the letters themselves. But according to the sources, the story doesn't end there. Meghan allegedly noticed that the anagram of Charlie to Archie left one letter unused, the letter L. Rather than viewing this as an imperfection in her linguistic solution, she reportedly saw it as an opportunity for future planning. This single leftover letter would eventually become the starting point for their daughter's name, or so the claim goes. The sources suggest that Meghan began playing with names that could use the letter L, thinking ahead to a potential second child. The progression from Elle to Liz to Elizabeth to Lily is logical enough. Elizabeth is, of course, the name of the late Queen, and Lily is a modern, softer derivative of Elizabeth through the nickname Lilibet, which was the Queen's childhood nickname. By the time their daughter was born in June 2021, the couple had indeed chosen the name Lilibet, known as Lily, creating what the sources describe as a complete circle of the anagram puzzle. If this account is accurate, it means that both children's names contain hidden references to the names that were originally desired or that carry meaning beyond what's immediately apparent. The 6 letters of Archie come from Charlie, and the leftover L becomes Lily. It's an intricate piece of wordplay that would satisfy someone with a deep interest in language and symbolism, while also allowing the couple to feel they had the last word, so to speak, in the naming decisions. This theory also provides an explanation for the controversial way the couple announced their daughter's name. When Lilibet Diana was born in 2021, the Sussexes were already living in California, having stepped back from royal duties. The announcement of the name caught many by surprise, and there was immediate controversy about whether the Queen had given her permission for the use of her private childhood nickname. The couple maintained they had asked and received blessing, while palace sources suggested otherwise, saying the Queen had been informed rather than consulted. The sources sharing these claims about Archie's name suggest that the different approach taken with Lilibet's naming was deliberate. Having learned from their experience with Archie, where their preferred choice was discouraged, the couple decided not to seek permission in advance for their daughter's name. Instead, they announced it as a fait accompli, presenting it to the Queen as a done deal rather than a proposal open for discussion. This would represent a shift in their approach, from seeking family approval to asserting their independence in parental decisions. The pattern that emerges from these accounts is one of the couple responding to perceived rejection or limitation by finding alternative ways to achieve their goals. When told they couldn't use Charles or Charlie, they allegedly found a way to hide those letters within Archie. When they presumably anticipated resistance to using Lilibet, they announced it without prior approval. This approach of finding workarounds and presenting accomplished facts rather than seeking permission characterizes much of the Sussex narrative since their departure from royal duties. It's worth considering why such elaborate wordplay would appeal to the couple, particularly to Meghan. Throughout her public life, Meghan has demonstrated an interest in controlling narratives, in having layers of meaning in her choices, and in being seen as clever and strategic. The idea of having hidden meanings in her children's names that most people wouldn't immediately recognize, but that she would know about, fits with this pattern. It allows for both public accessibility, with friendly modern-sounding names, and private satisfaction, knowing there are deeper meanings embedded within. The sources also frame this approach as part of a broader pattern they describe in the couple's behavior. When the Sussexes feel they've been denied something or treated unfairly, they allegedly respond not with direct confrontation, but with subtle acts of defiance that can later be revealed or that provide private satisfaction. The naming strategy, if these accounts are true, would be an early example of this approach, one that occurred before the more public conflicts and revelations that would come later. The Archwell Foundation name provides some supporting context for these claims. When the couple launched their foundation, they explained that arch was an ancient Greek word meaning source of action. They said they had been thinking about this word and its meaning for some time. The sources sharing the Archie naming story suggest that this interest in the word arch and its derivatives actually stems from the earlier naming process, from the anagram exploration that led to Archie's name. The arch prefix became something of a theme for the couple, appearing in multiple contexts throughout their branding and public communications. Whether one believes these claims or not, they provide a narrative that explains several puzzling aspects of the Sussex naming choices. They explain why Archie seems such an unusual choice for a royal baby. They provide context for the couple's apparent love of the arch prefix in their branding. They offer an explanation for the controversial handling of Lilibet's name announcement. And they fit with what we know about Meghan's interest in language and her tendency towards strategic thinking in public relations matters. The sources presenting this information frame it as an example of the couple's determination to have things their way while appearing to comply with family expectations. On the surface, they moved away from Charles and chose something completely different. But underneath, according to these accounts, they embedded the name they wanted all along. It's a story about control, about finding agency within constraints, and about the importance of winning even small victories in what had become an increasingly difficult family dynamic. Moving beyond the claims about the Sussex naming decisions, recent royal activities have showcased the working members of the family continuing their public duties across various meaningful engagements. These events highlight the different approaches and priorities that characterize the modern royal family's public service work, demonstrating how individual members of the family have developed distinct areas of focus that align with their personal interests and the needs of contemporary society. One notable recent event was a special screening of the film Hamnet, hosted by the Queen's Reading Room charity. The movie has been generating significant attention in recent weeks, attracting critical acclaim and earning several Academy Award nominations. The film is based on a historical fiction novel of the same name, which imagines the life and marriage of William Shakespeare, with particular focus on his wife Agnes, who is also known as Anne Hathaway, and the tragic death of their 11-year-old son Hamnet Shakespeare. The story explores how the death of this young boy potentially influenced Shakespeare's later writing of his famous play, Hamlet. While historians continue to debate the actual circumstances of young Hamlet's death, with various theories ranging from bubonic plague to other illnesses common in that era, the novel and subsequent film take creative license to imagine the emotional impact on the family. It's a sobering reminder that in Shakespeare's time, roughly 1/3 of children died before reaching the age of 10, making childhood mortality a tragic but common reality of life in that period. The film's exploration of parental grief and creative expression, resonating through centuries, has struck a chord with contemporary audiences, making it both a critical success and a topic of cultural conversation. The screening event brought together members of the film industry, including cast members, crew, and costume designers. Queen Camilla attended the event in her capacity as patron of the Queen's Reading Room, an initiative she founded to promote literacy and the joy of reading. The gathering provided an opportunity for Her Majesty to meet with those involved in bringing this literary adaptation to the screen and to discuss the themes of family, loss, and creative expression that run through the work. The collaboration with Universal and Focus Features for this screening demonstrates how the Queen's Reading Room is building partnerships with major cultural institutions to expand its reach and impact. The event was notable for its celebration of literary heritage and the power of storytelling, themes that have become central to Queen Camilla's charitable work. Her Reading Room initiative has grown significantly since its inception, promoting books and reading across various platforms and reaching diverse audiences. What began as a modest Instagram account, sharing the Queen's reading recommendations, has evolved into a comprehensive literacy promotion program. The connection between literature and film, between historical fiction and contemporary interpretation, made this screening particularly relevant to the charity's mission of encouraging people to discover the transformative power of reading. Meanwhile, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has been actively engaged in a series of public appearances focused on mental health, community well-being, and support for vulnerable populations. Her work in this area has become increasingly sophisticated and focused over the years, moving beyond general awareness raising to supporting specific evidence-based interventions and programs. One of her recent visits took her to the Peak District, a stunning national park in central England. The Peak District holds the distinction of being Britain's first designated national park, receiving this status in 1951. This makes it a relatively recent designation in historical terms, though the landscape itself has been shaped by human activity and natural forces over millennia. The Peak District is surprisingly large, covering approximately 555 square miles, which is roughly equivalent to the size of Greater London. One of its most distinctive features is the extensive network of dry stone walls that crisscross the landscape, totaling some 26,000 miles in length. These walls are not merely decorative, but represent centuries of agricultural tradition and land management, built by hand without mortar and designed to withstand the harsh weather conditions of the region. The park extends across 5 different counties, making it a truly regional treasure that serves communities across a wide geographic area. What sets the Peak District apart from many other national parks is that it's a living, working landscape rather than an uninhabited wilderness. Approximately 38,000 people call the Peak District home, and the area welcomes around 13 million visitors annually. This combination of residential community and tourist destination creates unique challenges and opportunities for conservation and sustainable development. The landscape continues to be used for sheep farming and other agricultural activities, while also providing recreational opportunities and serving as a vital green space for urban populations in nearby cities. During her visit, the Princess of Wales participated in activities organised by Mind Over Mountains, a charity that provides professional mental health support through therapeutic outdoor experiences. The organisation's approach combines the benefits of physical activity, natural environments, and structured support to help individuals dealing with mental health challenges. Catherine took part in a supported wellbeing walk through the district, engaging with participants and experiencing firsthand how the combination of nature, exercise, and community can contribute to mental health recovery and resilience. The charity's work is particularly relevant given growing recognition of nature-based interventions as valuable tools in mental health treatment, complementing traditional therapeutic approaches. Photographs from the visit showed Catherine engaging in mindfulness exercises at the top of a hill, demonstrating the practical techniques that participants learn through the program. Her outfit for the occasion was practical and appropriate for outdoor activity, featuring an olive utility jacket that provided both warmth and freedom of movement. She wore a Baker Boy hat in houndstooth pattern and chocolate-coloured jeans suitable for hiking and outdoor activities. The casual yet put-together appearance reflected the princess's ability to dress appropriately for the activities she undertakes while maintaining a polished public image, making her relatable to participants while still maintaining the dignity expected of her position. The princess's engagements continued throughout the north of England, with multiple stops focused on her ongoing work around early childhood development, mental health, and community support. In Bradford, she visited Family Action's Children's Trauma Therapy Service, the first of 3 engagements scheduled for that day. Family Action is a charity that Catherine serves as patron, and it provides crucial support to children aged 4 to 18 who have experienced trauma, along with their families. The organisation has been operating for over 150 years, adapting its services to meet changing social needs while maintaining its core mission of supporting vulnerable families. During this visit, Catherine was seen demonstrating to a young girl how to listen for the ocean in a seashell, a simple but meaningful interaction that exemplifies the kind of gentle, child-centered approach the princess brings to her work. In return, the young girl showed Catherine a potion she had created to keep bad dreams away, a touching example of the creative therapeutic techniques used to help children process and cope with difficult experiences. These small moments, captured by photographers, illustrate the genuine engagement and warmth that characterize Catherine's approach to public duties, particularly those involving children. The interaction also demonstrates how play therapy and creative activities can help children express and work through traumatic experiences in ways that feel safe and manageable. The visit continued to West Yorkshire, where Catherine attended an event at Wakefield's Trinity Grounds, home to the local rugby league club. There she met with schoolgirls who were learning rugby skills, part of broader initiatives to encourage girls' participation in sports and to promote the physical and mental health benefits of team athletics. Rugby league has traditionally been a male-dominated sport, particularly in Northern England, where it has deep cultural roots, making these programs for girls particularly significant in challenging gender stereotypes and expanding opportunities. Her outfit for this portion of the visit included a brown blazer by Holland Cooper, a brand known for country and equestrian-inspired clothing, paired with Cartier Trinity earrings, balancing sporty practicality with elegant accessories. At the same venue, Catherine sat down with a group of Wakefield rugby supporters aged 60 to 90 who regularly attend social events organised by the Super League Charitable Arms Community Foundation. This program specifically targets older people at risk of loneliness and social isolation, using the common bond of sports fandom to create community and connection. Loneliness among elderly populations has been recognised as a significant public health concern, with research showing links between social isolation and various physical and mental health problems. The intergenerational aspect of the visit, from young girls learning rugby skills to elderly supporters maintaining social connections through their love of the sport, highlighted the broad community impact that sports organisations can have beyond the games themselves. In addition to these individual royal activities, the King and Queen hosted a significant reception at Buckingham Palace to mark Holocaust Memorial Day. This annual observance ensures that the memory of the Holocaust and its victims remains alive and since versen, public consciousness, and that the lessons of that dark period in history continue to inform contemporary values and actions. The reception brought together survivors of the Holocaust and their families, along with representatives from organizations dedicated to Holocaust education and remembrance. As the number of living survivors continues to diminish with each passing year, events like this take on increasing urgency and poignancy. During the event, Their Majesties viewed portraits of 7 Holocaust survivors who have been honored for their services to Holocaust awareness and education. These individuals have dedicated significant portions of their lives to ensuring that their experiences and the experiences of millions who did not survive are not forgotten. Many of these survivors are now approaching or have surpassed their 100th birthdays, making their continued participation in educational efforts all the more remarkable and urgent. As the generation with direct memory of these events grows smaller each year, their testimonies serve as powerful reminders of both the depths of human cruelty and the resilience of the human spirit. The King and Queen also viewed a portrait of Anne Frank, created for the Anne Frank Trust UK, an organisation that uses Anne's story and diary to educate young people about the dangers of discrimination and the importance of standing up for justice and human rights. Charles and Camilla lit candles of remembrance during the reception, a symbolic act that has become central to Holocaust Memorial Day observances worldwide. The lighting of candles represents both remembrance of those who were lost and commitment to ensuring such atrocities never happen again. They spent time speaking with survivors, listening to their stories, and honoring their resilience and their ongoing commitment to education and remembrance. The Queen's approach at this event was notable for allowing the King to take the lead while providing supportive presence, demonstrating the role of consort that she has developed since the coronation. Her presence was described as both discreet and illuminating, providing support without overshadowing, a delicate balance that characterizes effective consort work. This approach reflects Queen Camilla's understanding of her role and her ability to adapt to different ceremonial and public contexts. Additionally, the Duke of Kent marked Holocaust Memorial Day with his own engagement at the Imperial War Museum. His Royal Highness attended a performance by the English Chamber Orchestra, an event that combined cultural expression with historical remembrance. The use of music and artistic performance in Holocaust remembrance serves to honor the cultural heritage that the Nazis sought to destroy, while also providing an emotional and accessible entry point for education and reflection. The Duke of Kent, who has served in various ceremonial and charitable capacities for decades, represents the continuity of royal commitment to remembrance and education across generations. At his advanced age, his continued dedication to public service exemplifies the sense of duty that characterizes the royal family's approach to their roles. These various engagements, from literary celebrations to mental health initiatives to Holocaust remembrance, illustrate the breadth of issues that the working members of the royal family address through their public duties. Each event serves multiple purposes, raising awareness of important causes, honoring those who do difficult work in their communities, and demonstrating the ongoing relevance of the monarchy's role in British civic life. The diversity of these activities also shows how different members of the family have carved out distinct areas of focus, allowing them to develop expertise and make meaningful contributions in specific fields while collectively addressing a wide range of social needs and cultural values.